This is WGAL 8 in Focus. Coverage you can count on.
I'm joined now by Kevin Ressler, the president and CEO of United Way of Lancaster County, and Vanessa Philbert, who is the president and CEO of Community Action Partnership of Lancaster County. Thanks to both of you for being here.
Thanks for having
us. Kevin, just quickly, what was your reaction to hearing about this donation from High?
Yeah, well, so the ownership change to me was just sort of a monumental sort of end result of what has seemed to be the life of Dale High and the company that he's built into such a committed philanthropic organization for good, right? The High Foundation has always been the family's way of saying, hey, we've received and we want to remove these barriers around particular issues. And so it made sense. It made sense. And then, of course, it was also exciting, not just for the ways it might benefit United Way of Lancaster County, but the ways it can benefit Lancaster County.
And as he said, other counties where they are doing business, so not just Lancaster County, but in our area, the Susquehanna Valley. Vanessa, again, what's your reaction to this kind of gift?
Yeah, I would say, you know, the work that we do at Community Action is really focused on a generational approach because we know that poverty in its most pervasive form is generational. So an investment like this is a generational solution. And that's what's really exciting is that some of the work that we're doing and that our community partners are doing really requires a generation-long kind of strategy, and an investment this way will kind of come alongside that strategy.
A look toward the future, so to
absolutely.
speak. What are some of the things you're doing in the community and will do with maybe some of these grants that you get?
Yeah, I think what's been really interesting is this commitment from the High Foundation to really explore data and get a good analysis of what's happening in the community and to think more kind of critically and innovatively around how we support whole families. So I know the work that we're doing at CAP is really focused on a whole family approach, what we call 2Gen. It's a national model, but we know it's the model that creates the most economic mobility. So we're looking forward to doing more of that work in partnership with the High Foundation. And I think what's interesting is that there is a holistic approach. There are these pillars of investment that are set up through the High Foundation that align and are akin to a lot of the conversations that are happening throughout the community around education and housing and workforce and just those basic needs of what it takes for any family to thrive in this community.
And is it about stopping that cycle of poverty?
Absolutely. When I think about that, I think about my own lived experience and I think about what's very different for my children for me was that post-secondary pathway. It looks different for all kinds of people, but what we need to make sure is that we create a community in which there's equitable access to opportunity and for families to be able to define thriving in their own way. And I think this contribution and this philanthropic spirit that lives at High will help us kind of create impact and look for real measures of that success.
What about the United Way? How will you use some of this?
Well, yeah, for us, we've been, over the last couple of years, actually already beneficiary for a software we've been building for our 211 contact center, which is a 24/7 contact center, connects to literally thousands of programs and resources that individuals can contact in one phone call or text. And through that investment, we've been creating better ways of seeing the results of those referrals that we make, as well as a better way, as Vanessa was talking about as well, to look at the data that shows us where are issues and gaps and where are needs being served and not being served, and then which organizations are solving those problems and how do we support them, whether it's through the financial grant making process that we have ourselves, whether that's through the programs that we run like 211 and VITA. All of those things get bolstered when you have a partner like High who's willing to take risk and innovate because they recognize that the status quo isn't sufficient. And so that initial investment that they've been making in some modifications to how we're capable of operating has led to actually further grants from other entities. And that's one of the things that's really been valuable for us at United Way is the way that High builds a relationship and trusts you as an entity allows you to innovate in ways that other funders don't always do. And then those other funders come in second because you've been able to show something new they weren't willing to invest in, but High, as an innovative company who's grown, was.
What do you mean exactly? That they're not kind of overseeing it? They're letting you do your thing, so to speak?
Yeah, so when we, as Robin mentioned earlier, there's this due diligence process and they get to know you as an organization. They look at your track record. Oftentimes grant funding is very, very sort of micromanaged in the process, right? Like you have to have such a tight line, or your project has to have such an already pre-proven record that there's no space to do new things. And as we know, the solutions to the problems we have today need to often be different. One, relevant to society today, but also, if we already solved these things, we as entities in the nonprofit space wouldn't exist.
You wouldn't be here, right?
These are problems that have been going on for 40, 50 generations, as Vanessa said. So having a partner who's willing to say, we recognize that you need to start looking at things differently, asking us those questions, helping to guide us in ways that they're able to, and then allowing us to lead in ways that we're experts at.
Well, good luck with all that. I'm sorry, did you want to add something?
I was just going to say, I think innovation is so interesting is because innovation is expected in the for-profit business sector, but really valuable in the nonprofit sector. So I think HI's position on that is exactly what we should expect from the business community. We should be innovating, learning, failing fast, failing forward, and keeping at it.
And that's just to say, you asked about my reaction to this. My excitement has been, I've gone around the country talking to other United Ways and other companies, and I've heard them say, isn't that thing happening where that ownership thing happened? They don't always know, and then you can say yes. And hopefully this is becoming a seed planted in the minds of other successful entrepreneurs of business and business industry leaders, and that we'll see this happen again.
All right, very good. Thanks for being here.
Thanks so much.
We appreciate it. And coming up on WGAL 8 in Focus, we'll speak with representatives of Girls on the Run, another organization impacted by the High Foundation.